So in the trunk, you're going to locate the battery, which is right here with a 10mm socket. We're going to disconnect this negative cable. Make sure it does not slide back and hit. I'm going to remove the air pump, which is 3 mounting bolts right here, 13mm socket. Break them all free. And I'm going to disconnect the electrical connector. There's 2 tabs right here. And the air pump hose, which is up there. So I'm using just a pocket screwdriver to undo those little tabs, pull it down. I'm going to undo the starter solenoid wires first. I'm going to do the small ignition wire first. 8mm socket, break that free. Take that washer off. I am a stickler about putting them right back to where I got them. That way I know where they are, and I'm not searching for them. Just put them on loosely. Now I'm going to take off the positive battery cable to the solenoid, which is a 13mm socket. Right here. Oh, that's tiny. Washer and that back on. So there's 2 mounting bolts on the starter, one here and one on the opposite side. You're going to need an extension, but I'm going to loosen this one up first, 15mm socket. And I get my extension. So with my 3-inch extension and a 15 swivel, 3/8 drive, bring it up over the top here. Let's see if I can find that bolt. There we go. Okay, I'm on it. I'm going to put my ratchet on. There we go. Let's see if I can get this one out the rest of the way. Okay. Now I'm going to reach up there. Hopefully it comes out. And there it is. Pocket screwdriver. Here is the knock sensor connector. So I'm going to push that tab in and pull this, disconnect it like that. And now I'm going to disconnect it from the dipstick tube. I'm just going to pull on that. There we go. And here is the knock sensor right there, mounted on the block. It's 13mm socket. And I'm going to take the bolt out. So the new knock sensor comes with an O-ring that holds the bolt in place. You can take it off if you want, but you have to torque this. That's a key thing to a knock sensor. It's very sensitive, needs to be torqued. And the block has a little seat, so that O-ring will sit in, so you don't need to remove it. Do not use an air tool or an electric tool to tighten this. You can damage the sensor. It has to be done by hand and then torqued properly. So once it bottoms out, I'll get my socket and torque specs. So I'm just going to snug it down and torque it. And the torque is 18 foot-pounds. That's it. So now I'm going to connect it until it clicks. Oh, it's right there. It comes with the new mounting hardware, which goes right in the dipstick tube. You see that mounting hole? Just give it a good push up there. Now I'm going to put the starter back. And that bolt is already in on the top in the casing of the starter. So I'm going to grab the bottom starter bolt, put that in. That way, don't put it all the way in because you don't want it to be snug. You want to make sure that you can line that bolt up on the top. You really can't see it, so you're going to do it with an extension and a socket. I'm just going to put this bolt just enough so that the starter won't drop out on me. There we go. Now I'm going to get my extension with my 15mm socket on there. And I'm going to see if I can locate that bolt. So I found it. I put my mirror up there, give it a quick little look. It's definitely threaded in. I think I'm just going to use my air ratchet, or my electric ratchet, shall I say. I'm just going to snug it up so I can torque it. Perfect. I'm going to leave that extension up there, and then I'm going to snug the bottom one. I'm going to get my torque wrench, and the torque specs is 37 foot-pounds. I'm going to do the top one because my socket's on there. So 37 foot-pounds. Perfect. Do the bottom. So now I'm going to put the battery cables back onto the starter, and always put the positive cable first, then the accessory wires, because the actual solenoid has a little guide for that to lock in on. Then I'll put the auxiliary wire, lock washer, and the nut. I'm going to hold that cable all the way up, snug up on the top. And then I'll get my 13mm socket and ratchet and tighten it up. And I'm going to hold that cable to make sure it doesn't round around. Come around. And remember, this is a starter solenoid, so that is a copper bolt in that solenoid. We just want it snug and no cable movement. Now I can do the solenoid wire. I'll take the nut back off. Solenoid wire is basically goes right to the ignition, and it's always going to be a little small wire. Right there. I'll put the washer and nut back on. And do the same. I'm going to snug that down. My 8mm socket. Really sensitive, don't snap that. So we're gonna put the air pump back. It has 2 hoses, connectors on it. Just gonna go down, connect, clip on. Okay, I'm gonna put mounting bolts in. There's 3 total, 1 on this side. 2 on this side. Plug in the electrical connector. There we go. Make sure the hoses are clipped down in. And 13mm socket, and we're just going to snug these up and then we'll torque it down. So 27 foot-pounds. Just going to be enough to tighten it because it's an aluminum pan. So now we can reconnect our negative battery terminal. Make sure it seats all the way down on that battery stud. And then 10mm socket. And I'm going to tighten that right up. You need 2 hands